Hi, my name is Hannah Shockey, and this is my action research presentation. The purpose of this study was to determine how creating a house system affected school community, a culture of pride, and student attendance. Both AVID H sections participated in this study, combined for a total of 46 8th grade students. The house system grouped students into specific teams where they competed to earn points based off various competitions regarding academics, attendance, and behavior. Attendance data was studied before and after the house system was implemented. A survey measured students' pride. The implementation of a house system increased school pride but had little or no effect on student attendance. The house system originally started in British boarding schools and first came to the U.S. in colleges such as Harvard, Rice, and even Baker University used a model of the house system. My AVID classes have been together for 3 years now, so I decided that they would be the best group of kids to do this process with because I knew them the best and how they would work together. The research design type for this experiment was a non-equivalent control group. My third-hour students were broken up into houses, while my sixth-hour AVID class was not broken into houses. I gave my third hour a pre-house system survey and a post-house system survey, and my sixth hour took that same post-house system survey. I also pulled the attendance data for the time that the project was going on. The need for a house system is apparent through lots of different research. Hoy and Hanum say that climate is one of the most important measurements of an effective school, but that's very hard to pinpoint what exactly affects climate of a school and how to identify it and improve it in schools. They also stated that climate has one of the highest effect rates on student engagement in academics, and that when students are engaged and involved in their academics, their scores reflect that involvement in a positive manner. Cornwall also said that when there's community between grade levels, there's also a maturity that comes with that and a sense of leadership and pride that allows for students to grow as leaders throughout their time in the house system. They also discuss the lower anxiety in new students when they come to school and they're immediately placed into this group and they have a sense of belonging. It is shown to reduce anxiety in students who are new to the school. Lastly, in the Green article, it talked about how the house system opens up leadership opportunities for older students and the positive effect it has on suspension rates. It quotes that at one particular school, suspension rates dropped by nearly 90%. For data collection, I used my 2 AVID classes. There were 22 students in my third hour and 22 students in my sixth hour. They're all 8th graders. And like I previously stated, most of them have been in AVID with me as their teacher since 6th grade. So one of the most important materials I used was the house implementation system. For this project, I had students create their own houses within their group. So they created a name, a mascot, chose colors and characteristics that they thought best represented them. And then we also created a plan of how you could score points, what earned points, and what competitions they would like to take place over our 3-work trial period. The pre and post survey I designed and administered to my 3rd and 6th hours, and attendance data I was able to pull using our grade system here in 259 called Synergy. The procedures for this action research plan is I gave my 3rd hour AVID class the first Monday back from Thanksgiving. I gave them a pre-survey measuring their school community, how welcome they felt at Hadley Middle School, and then the pride that they felt being a Hadley student. Would they recommend Hadley to 5th grade families? Would they be proud to wear a Hadley shirt at a game? And then also why they enjoyed Hadley just in casual conversations with them. I then broke my 3rd hour up into 4 houses, and like I said, I've been with this group for 3 years, so I was able to break up some of the really close friendships and integrate students who maybe didn't know each other as well, so that was really beneficial in creating the houses. The 6th hour AVID class continued to do AVID curriculum as usual. They did not participate in the house system. I gave the post-assessment to both classes on the same day, and then I pulled the attendance data for the 3 weeks that we did the house system in third hour to look at the gains and losses in attendance. The quantitative data that I found for this project was that over the course of 3 weeks, in third hour, there was a total of 28 absences, with 25 of those being excused, meaning they were ill or had a family emergency. And there were 3 unexcused absences, which doesn't necessarily mean they were skipping, but it means that there was no parent contact regarding the absence. In reflection to that, over the same 3-week period in 6th hour AVID, where they were not in houses, they also had 25 excused absences, but they had 9 unexcused absences, which is a pretty shocking difference when compared to third hour. And their grand total for 6 hours, 34 absences. I don't think this is enough data to really suggest that the house system affected attendance. With the winter break coming up, a lot of families were traveling, and several students didn't have their parents call in, and I know that affected the excused absences. The qualitative data I was able to gather from this research project was how likely my students were to recommend Hadley to a 5th grade family. If they came to Hadley, they feel welcome and accepted, and that when they're at Hadley, they feel like they're part of a larger community. The blue bar on all the graphs is third hour's pre-survey, and the red bar is the third hour post-survey. And on every graph, you see a shift in a more positive manner from strongly disagree to disagree, or neutral to agree, or agree to strongly agree. So that is one of the positive takeaways from this action research trial, is that students began to feel proud about Hadley Middle School and felt like they were making connections within their AVID class that they hadn't previously made. The house system, and I think this is the time to bring this up, but the house system, breaking my kids up into 4 teams, isn't what made them feel like they're part of a larger community or make them have school pride or affect their attendance data. It's what you do while you're in the houses. I gave my students an opportunity to talk to my third hour AVID students, to talk to the people in their houses about things that we don't normally have time to talk about in AVID, or things that we don't normally touch on, and that allowed for them to create a stronger sense of community. One of the best things for me as a teacher to see was in my third hour AVID class, there's a student who struggles socially, and normally if I go down to the cafeteria during lunch, she's sitting by herself. As a team builder during the house system, they had to share something that they didn't think their AVID class knew about them, and that's kind of tricky when you've been together for 3 years. And so she shared that she had been studying magic and showed the kids a few tricks. And I just happened to go down to the lunchroom that day, and her whole house was sitting with her in the cafeteria, and she was showing them tricks, and other kids were coming up to watch, and that was just a really touching moment that was inspired by the house system. But if I had just broken my students up into 4 teams, that wouldn't have happened. So the power in the house system is what teachers and the school community is able to do with the competitions and freedom that come with the house system. Another positive correlation that happened throughout this time was an increase in school pride. Through casual conversations with my students, I said, why aren't you proud to go to Hadley? Why wouldn't you recommend it? And the students kept saying, there's nothing that makes us special. There's nothing that sets us apart. We're just another neighborhood middle school. And so they talked about how creating the house system would give them something unique to talk about with the other students. The attendance data, like I touched on a little bit, was really tricky to see the influence of the house system because of the winter break coming up and students traveling, and the knee surgery and the broken leg. We had a string of bad luck, but third hour with the house system did have fewer unexcused absences. My plan to decimate these results is to share it with the team leaders and use it as support for moving forward with our house system plan. Hopefully we'll be moving to a school-wide approach within the next school year. Thank you.